New Year's Eve here in Canada. I just want to wrap up the channel with a thank you to everyone once again. And it's an obscure sort of thing. Chickens. We're talking about chickens here, okay? Nothing political. I really appreciate the comments. I try to respond to them in whatever fashion, whether it's on the channel, as is this case. Chickens again. Somebody recently commented she'd like, I think it's a she, I forget, I'm sorry, more about chickens and how are my chickens going to winter. Well, I was given 4 chickens in the spring. Uh, they're Rhode Island Red Cross, I forget what. They're referred to as brown chickens. They're one of the most commercial egg laying chickens. When I got them, they were just at the stage they lay their first eggs. And this can go wrong for the chicken. They can get what they call poopy bum. Things don't get working properly down there for them, and often they die. One did. We had another one had poopy bum syndrome and never got over it. Never laid an egg. I didn't even think that was possible for a laying hen. Perhaps someone wants to comment on this. But the entire summer went by. Poopy bum chicken never laid an egg. Continued to have poopy bum. Continued to eat. And didn't seem to be miserable or suffering or anything. The other 2 chickens kind of ostracized her a little bit. And then as more time progressed, one of the hens got stashing her eggs and got broody, which is a bit weird for the brown chickens. That's one of the good features about having them. I think I've said in the past, those black cross chickens are terrible for going broody. So as we were getting later into the fall, John and Kyra and I were here at the kitchen table, and I said, well, these 3 chickens, so the price of the feed for 2 eggs, one of which I got to hunt for, although this won't be a problem in the winter when they're in their coop and their confines. But, the time, the grief, the money for the feed, which has gone way up, carbon tax. Yeah, okay. So, I said, and John piped up. He said, well, I don't mind processing them. We'll put them in the freezer. We're both kind of looking at Kyra because she's a city girl, but she's a country girl at heart. And I don't have any experience with this, but I gather there's a difference between a meat chicken and a laying chicken. I guess the laying chickens don't really make good eating. But they're young yet, and well, hey, we'll just make soup out of them. How bad can it go? And we were like, are you okay with this, Kyra? And she's like, yeah. So the next day she approached me and she said, I'll look after the chickens over the winter. I know you're busy. And I said, well, if you're going to do that, that's fine, but I won't tolerate them being starved or frozen right? She was like, oh, well, And here's the thing. On the weekends, she works at this, I'll just say, weird animal sanctuary. Daddy's rich and the daughter, and they just have, it's kind of strange. They recently got a 600-pound boar, and Kyra's terrified of the thing and won't deal with it. They have some chickens in their sanctuary. Who takes chickens into a sanctuary? Like I say, it's a strange place. They got some pygmy goats and I don't know, whatever, right? Excuse me. So Kyra said, well, when I go into work this weekend, then, because you're right, Scott, it would be more grief than it's worth looking after 3 chickens. I'll see if they'll take them at the sanctuary. And so they did. The following weekend, Kyra took the one normal chicken, the one brooding brown hen, and the one poopy bum brown hen to the sanctuary. So that's the story of the chickens. But you had asked to know more about chickens. Well, there's lots of great channels about chickens out there. And they really don't need heat in the winter. Um, they need light if you want them to stay laying adequately to pay you back for your food costs. You kind of have to extend their daylight hours. If your coop size is appropriate to the number of chickens that you have, they really don't need heat. And again, I'll justify that comment or that train of thought by saying if you go to the people who really know about chickens, I think you'll find it that they're in concurrent with that, that they really don't need additional heat if your coop is appropriate. So I just wanted to address that comment, wrap up the channel. It's kind of the last unaddressed issue in response to comments I have for the new year. And again, thank you everyone for commenting. And Happy New Year.